Hey everyone, it's your boy Hunter Dragoon X, and we are going to continue making a game today. If this is your first time joining me, I've been working on a game that is going to be very similar to Vampire Survivors. And last time I left off, we had made an experience pickup. Um, you did have to walk on the pickup to acquire the experience. Um, but I did since the last time I streamed, and right now I did go and add something into our player controller here for a pickup radius. So now we can pick up things from a distance. I got here in my base pickup controller. I did hard code a number for testing, but let's go ahead and change that. So we want to get our player, and we want to do pickup radius. Oh, what's going on here? It is public, so it should come up pickup radius. Also game object. So I need to get the component. Yeah. Dot get component player controller. And that is a function, so don't forget your open close parentheses. And there we go. We are off to the races. And let's go ahead and drop in here. Other thing I did was add in some more UI elements. Um, the bottom, this yellow bar is going to be our experience bar. I did add in an MP bar. I don't know what I want to use it for yet, so that may just go away, but that's there for now. And then I got 6 empty spots to put weapons and 6 empty spots to put armor. Um, I know that in Vampire Survivors you can overflow if there's more armor or weapon items on the map. You can get more than your 6. I don't think I want to do it that way. I think that's one of the ways that I want to deviate from their game, and so I want to lock you in at 6. So you certainly have to at a certain point commit to a certain build instead of going, hey, there's all the stuff on this level, I'm just gonna go crazy, whatever, what have you. Anyways, this is what it's looking like. By the way, oh, I should have not ran it because I want to do one more thing before I run it. Let's stop it and get into our player, and let's go to our pickup radius right here at the bottom. I'm gonna set it like something high, like 5, so you can really see it doing its job. And then we're gonna run the game in full screen here to give you guys an idea of what's going on. And once I get that little star, should you vacuums right in once we get up to a certain range, and that's what gives us our experience. My my experience bar does not appear to be functioning correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that because that should be showing us what level we're on. I do have my debug log putting it down here, but it's so tiny, like I really doubt anyone can see that. So let's go into my little panel down here and look at my experience bar. I know I made the script. I think I just forgot to attach it. So yeah, okay. You see how my experience bar is empty right here? And there is a little bug where sometimes 2 of the pickups will drop right on top of each other, so you'll get 2 experience instead of 1. Um, but not the end of the world when that happens. I definitely still need to maybe make there be some kind of level up animation, just to make that go through a little bit better. And then of course, you know, what happens at a level up? We got to decide. Do we get new weapons on a level up? Do we um, get character specific talents? What are our choices look like at level up? Like what's that gonna be? What's that gonna do for our gameplay loop? Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna go back out and I'm gonna now that we know it works, I'm gonna put 1 into my pickup radius, and then if you get like a power up that increases it, like a magnet or something, can draw things in from a further distance. Excuse me. That'll be good. So, um, let's go back into our code here and look at our player controller. And so I have a take damage. I don't have a heal damage. So we could use that to, if we want to do a healing pickup, to take negative damage, or we could make it its own separate function. I think its own separate function might be better because we might want to do bonuses to healing um, and reductions to damage that would, clash with each other. So that's one way to do it. We could also do, let's look at our base battle unit. Oh, right here. Yeah, we have set health and take damage, but no heal damage. So we could use uh, set health equal to you know health plus whatever to heal yourself. But I think it would probably be better. Um, and there are probably it's not going to be often, but I think there are situations where enemies might heal. So I'm just going to do heal damage and float amount. And what I want to do is current health plus amount. And then if it's if current health is greater than max health, then current health is just going to equal max health. So we're never going to heal over our maximum with this function here. So with that being said, we very easily have a way to heal ourselves. Now let's look at our let's see. I have a icon in here that I wanted to use. Here we go, little healing vial here. And hold on. Let's get our play field here, and then just drag this on the map somewhere. And this is going to be a health vial pickup. And we are going to go in our pickups folder, and we're gonna throw this in here as a prefab. But we're also going to need, because we've got see how we got this XP pickup script, and I want to make the naming match with the underscores, because even though we can use the spaces and it's fine, I just want them to be matchy. Yeah, so I think I want to do a new C# script, and we're gonna go health pickup. And so this is going to be very similar to our experience pickup, where it is a very, very short script. So we are going to go in here and we're going to make this borrow from our base pickup controller. Then we're going to get rid of our void and our start, and we're going to say float amount, and then public override void on pickup. Oh, I need to public override void on pickup. And then what I want to do is preferably heal the player. So we want to get component of their player controller. Heal damage and the amount. So ideally when we picked up this health vial, we should restore some health. So what I'm going to do for testing purposes is I'm going to leave this one on the map, take some damage, and then give myself that damage. So let's get in to our prefab here. Health pickup. Oh, you know what I neglected to do? I'm gonna make this public so that I can make. So I can access it from the inspector and make different health pickups of different sizes. Because the vial being the smallest container is going to be the smallest. And then I'm going to have a potion, and then I'm going to have a jar, and then I'm going to have like an elixir and a nice fancy bottle. So there's going to be 4 levels of pickups. Now let me see something. This also is going to need a rigid body and a circle collider. And there is a way for me to make those required on a script so that when you add the script, it automatically adds those components. I forget how to do that, so I'm going to research how to do that so that way it gets faster for us to make these prefabbed objects. We don't have to go in and every time like grab a rigid body and gravity scale it to 0 and then grab a circle collider 2D and check that all looks good. But let's go ahead and test out our health pickup and see if we're able to heal 10 health after taking some damage. And I got the player's health set to 33 or to 100 right now, so that should ideally be about 10% of your health. So, oh, my my MP must have the HP bar script attached to it still. So, of course I die before I get there. Alright, I promise to be less bad at my own game this time. Alright, oh, no, stop. Oh, I need to change it to being a pickup because my daggers are hitting it. Anyways, let's take some damage here. Oh god. Oh, looks like it did it. I'm pretty sure I got some health there. All right, so there's a couple things I want to do. Um, this health pickup, I need to put this on the pickup layer so that it's not like a collidable thing. Um, Also, how fast am I moving these towards the player? Because that felt very slow. So, oh, it's I stuck the player's pickup radius in there as the speed that it moves towards the player, and I put 3 as the actual pickup radius. That was silly of me, and I'm gonna do this. Oops. Copy, paste. Put my parenthesis back that I overwrote. So now, now we've got that in the correct spot. And for the speed, I want to make it move at the player's move speed, but maybe I should make it slightly faster so you never outrun them. So let's go player's move speed times 1.1, 1.01. F because it's a float. And that should make it always move um, slightly faster than the player. So now that's how we do a healing pickup. So that's good. Let me get back into this MP bar here, and here we go. Health bar controller script. We are going to remove that component, and then I think maybe our enemies can maybe drop health a certain percentage of the time. There are going to be a lot of enemies on screen, so we want that to be a very low percentage, possibly affected by the player's luck stat. Um, but for now, I think I'm just gonna leave that one there and worry about making other stuff later. And but you know what I want to see is how does it look with a 50-50 scale? I think I like that being smaller than the player. It's like a little thing that you pick up and drink. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I like that, and it just makes it the same size as the little experience stars. So even though their pixel sizes are a little inconsistent, it still I think makes overall for a better looking thing. Um, let's see, because I don't really want to redraw my player to scale with this or redraw this with less detail. You know, that I think would be kind of a annoying task to go through when I already have all these things in existence. So let's see here. We now can level up, and we want to do something with our level ups. Either upgrade an existing weapon or get a new weapon. Well, I don't have any new weapons to get, so we'll probably have to make some new weapons before we do that. But to back up a little bit further, I don't even have an icon for my starting weapon displayed in here. So I might want to figure out how we're going to do that first. So let's see. We have, all right, this is the weapon dagger, right? And it's a base weapon. And a weapon is based off of a battle unit modifier. So not every battle unit modifier is going to have an icon, but for sure weapons and armor are, which maybe I should have had a middle point where we do a equipable item that is in between here. Yeah, I think I'll be honest. I think I like having a in between state as a equipable item. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see. Yeah, we have our weapons in here. So this is a player thing. I'm gonna do a script, a new C# script, and we're gonna do equipable. How do I spell that? Oh my god, guys, I'm gonna use Google really fast. Equipable. Equipable has two P's. All right. So equipable item. All right. So equipable item is going to inherit from uh, base. What is it? Is going to inherit from battle unit modifier, and they're all going to have a public sprite item icon. And I'm gonna just get rid of those for now and just say this has an icon. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into my base weapon and I'll make it inherit from equipable item. It's not finding this namespace because I renamed the file. So I'm gonna go ahead and close down Visual Studio, and I'm gonna clear that. Oh, it's yelling at me still. Let's see if reopening Visual Studio fixes that, or if I have to close down my editor too. That's the one thing that annoys me is if I start naming the file and then I click off the window, it goes, oh, okay, we're done. It looks like it's not. Oh, yeah, it's throwing an error again. Can I go build solution? Yeah, I think I might have to close everything down. Let's try it. Let's try this now. I might just have to delete that script and make a new one if Unity wants to be dumb. But it was kind of my fault because I started naming the thing and then I didn't know. Yeah, it looks like we're still having issues with it. Yeah, okay. So, how do you spell that? Equipable item. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna close that because we really didn't do much to it, and then I'm gonna delete that. And then we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go create new C# script. Oh my god, I hit the wrong button. I did not want to make a script named W. That is, I don't know, a lot to clear out of my freaking box recycling bin. I hate having stuff in the recycling bin. Equipable item. And now it sees it. At least. And now we need to make this inherit from battle unit modifier. And I'm gonna get rid of those. We're gonna save that and we're gonna go back to our base weapon and it's fixed. Okay. So this Unity being Unity. Nothing too crazy. Now public sprite item icon. So now both weapons and armors are going to have icons and I don't need to rewrite anything for that. So let's look at our dagger here and item icon. The icons are named icon set. I don't know why the preview's not showing up, but oh, there we go. That's a dagger. So I probably need to make some kind of script in our UI that will show what equipment the player has in their slots. But even further back, I think it's not enough to say, okay, well our weapon is just a child of the player. We need to Our player needs to store a list of their weapons and their armor. So let's go into our player controller, go up here, and we need to make a public all weapons are going to be base weapon. Weapons. And so on start, our public, oopsie, public, oh wait, no, I'm not declaring it. Why am I putting public? Our weapons should equal new base weapon with a length of 6 because that's going to be our absolute maximum. We're not going to stick anything else in that. Normally I would use a list, but in this case I feel safe using an array because I am going to strictly limit base weapons to 6. I'm also going to need I think I need a some sort of structure at some point for the characters and character data. So I could start making that now. Because, I mean, all characters are going to be players. So I could just have multiple different player controllers. Yeah, okay. I think I'm I think I'm good with that, at least for now. Public uh, game object starting weapon. This does kind of limit me to one starting weapon per character, but I may be able to switch that up later. So we need to make a void add weapon, and maybe we'll send in a game object weapon. Um, so we need to do two things here. We need to put the weapon in our first empty spot. So we need to find our first empty spot in the array. So let's use a for loop. So for int I equals 0. Every time we loop, we increment I plus 1. And then we say when I is... Oh, no, wait, the middle one is when I is the... So while I is less than weapons dot length, and then increment I plus 1 on each loop. So what this will do is if we're trying to add a weapon and it overflows, like we hit outside of our length, it's just not going to do anything. We could add something under this to give it some sort of exception result, but I think what we're going to do is just we're going to find the so if weapons I equals null, then weapons that index is going to equal the weapon that we passed in. And what's wrong with that? Oh, because our list is for base weapons, not for game objects. So we're going to have to should I make these game objects? And yeah, I think that works out because we're going to want to instantiate them as a child to the player anyways. So instantiate weapon to this game object. This dot transform. Yeah. And then, so now I think we have what we want from here. And then we gotta tell our UI. So we're gonna need a script to control our like an equipment panel. So I think what that's gonna look like is, let's go in our UI here. We're gonna make a new C# script. Equipment panel controller, and that's gonna control our equipment panel. So what's our equipment panel going to need? Our equipment panel is going to need a public list of sprites. Oops, sprite, public sprite, weapons, or I should say weapon icons, and public sprite armor icons. And we'll probably need some more stuff later on, but for now, this is what we're gonna have, and we're going to want this to match. So public void. We're gonna want this to match 1-to-1 to our players list of weapons and armor. So we're gonna have a public void for add weapon, and we're going to send in a sprite of our weapon, and all right, so I realize we're gonna need to go back into our editor and do something with this, because these squares here are like the boxes that they sit in, but we're gonna need an image sitting on top of that to so I'm gonna change this to oh wait, that's the main panel. Yeah, that's the equipment panels right here. And so we've got all of these guys, but we're gonna need to create an image inside of it that's also 32 by 32. Oops, that I hit tab, but I hit shift instead of tab, so that did not work. Let's see. Yeah, that's awesome. We're gonna set the alpha to 0 here so that that's invisible. And in the meantime, I'm gonna get rid of the rest of these. We're just gonna plop those out, and I'm gonna duplicate this a bunch of times, which Control D duplicates, so that we have all of our boxes. And as you guys see, Mr. Fluffy Pants wanted to join us. $11, and then I'm gonna make one more, and this very center one I'm gonna also make invisible, so that we've got our dividing line between our 6 and our 6. And that's how I did the first time, but now all of these have a child image that I'm going to be able to use as the place where we store the icon. So I may need to change a little bit how I do this, because we're going to be using the Unity engine.ui. Sorry, I'm getting cute text messages from my girl, so it's making me smile. She doesn't like to talk in chat, but she'll send me text messages about seeing my stream. So I think I might need to make these images. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna send in the sprite when we call this function, and we're gonna send in an index so we know where we're putting it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna say weapon icons at that index dot sprite equals weapon. Boom. And I'm just gonna copy and paste this for the other section. but I'm going to change the names so that they're different. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to take weapon icons at that index, and I want the color alpha to be equal to 1 so that it's no longer oh, that's right, we can't set the alpha exactly, but what I can do is I can set the color to white, which should change the alpha value to 1. And I'm about like 90% confident that's gonna run without any real bugs. So on our player controller, when we add this weapon, not only do we instantiate it, but we need to have a reference to the UI. So under our starting weapons, I'm going to do public equipment panel controller, and we're gonna do just like in our cursor object. I'm gonna shorten this name. Let's call it equipment panel, and we're gonna say the equipment panel is gonna be equal to find object of type equipment panel controller. And then we can call the equipment panel dot add weapon, and we want to send in the weapon dot get component equipable item icon, because that's a sprite, right? Let's see, there's and we want to also send in the index. So now I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm gonna delete that dagger off of our player. But before I do that, I'm gonna make player weapons. Let's make a prefab of our dagger so we have it available. And I'm going to go back into our player here, and we should have a starting weapon slot, and I'm going to stick the dagger into our starting weapon slot. So now when we start, that should be our starting weapon, but there's more. Let's see. So base battle unit. Do I have an... Alright, so initialize stats. So I want to overwrite initialize stats to include something for adding your starting weapon for the player. So in our player controller, initialize stats, we're going to go add weapon, starting weapon. And now when we start, we should automatically instantiate that weapon on ourselves and add it to the UI here. So that was a whole lot of steps, a whole lot of going through a lot of scripts that inherit from each other and a bunch of other weird stuff. But it should take care of that. So here we go. And nothing is happening. My dagger does not exist. There must be some kind of reason. let's see what that is. So the player's starting weapon is the dagger. And on initialize stats, we do add it. And then on start, we have the base start, which means we should call initialize stats. But what I'm wondering is it just calling these initialized stats? Or is it calling this initialized stats? And and it's calling it before this list gets made. So maybe that's a problem. Although I thought it would have returned an error, but maybe I also wasn't paying too much attention. In fact, let's go back and see if there was possibly an error. No, it's just didn't look like it. Let's try this in this order and see what happens, because that might not be. Ah, here we go. Object instance not set to an instance of an object. Face direction transform. Oh, that's weird. I'm really surprised that threw an error. Also, we don't need that anymore. Let's go back. Let's try this again. Something a little bit funky going on. Alright, no errors, but also no weapons. So what I'm thinking is it's running the base initialized stats and not this initialized stats. Which, if this initialized stats also runs the base initialized stats, then I think that running a base start probably isn't necessary. But let's just walk through the logic here and see what all it does. So it does grab the clock, it sets you to active, and then it calls initialize stats, which is right here. And then so the only thing is it was setting our I'm going to just put a silly little debug log in here. And I'm going to add another little debug log. And also the experience is working correctly, so I can get rid of gain experience debug log. But I'm also going to go into this initialize stats. And I'm just going to say initialize stats. Why is the debug keyword? I don't need JetBrains annotations, actually. That was kind of weird that I had to specify that now and I didn't have to before. And it's wanting me to do that on like all of them. Yeah, well. Okay, whatever. Okay, it is getting to the add weapons function, but it's not actually like if I look at my player here, I did not see the dagger added onto it. So yeah, we are actually getting to here. There's got to be something in this loop here, right? So we're starting I equals 0. So we're starting at our 0 index, and we're looking for the first null value. Are we getting through this loop okay? Or is it... I feel like it's running all that before that has a length, and it's just kicking out of it and saying, oh, there's no length there. But when I moved this up one, it freaked out because the cursor object wasn't defined, which I thought was weird. But you know what? Oh, you know what? I bet you, because the weapon relies on, well, I'm gonna move this base dot start to the bottom of our start, and we're gonna see if it runs correctly that way. Because all these steps have to happen in a certain order, but they're happening in different locations, so sometimes there's craziness. So now it's saying something's not set to an instance of the object, and all right, initialize stats, add weapon, starting weapon. All right, now we're having a, technically it's a different error because it's looking at this spot where we're calling the equipment panel, and the equipment panel is found after the or the equipment panel. I don't think I added what images were what. So that's a rookie mistake, and that's easy enough to fix. Let's get into here. Our equipment panel. It's gonna be our equipment panel controller. We're gonna have 6 images in our weapon icons, and they are going to be the sub images of the first 6 here. Of course, starting at 0, that means 1 through 5. And I am going to set up the armor one, even though we're not doing that yet, just to have it set up. And so 6 is our blank one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So we're going to start 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we're going to go in here and plug these bad boys in. And I probably should have given these all unique names, but I didn't, so whatever. All right, let's try running it now and see if our icon pops up. And okay, we got our dagger icon in every single box. That's not exactly what we wanted, but that is something. So we got to figure out why it dropped it into every single box and not just the first available box. And I think I know why. It's because once we find our null weapon, we go to the next slot and it's also null. So what we need to do is say, hey, we did this. Now break out of this loop. I could probably actually even return this function here because I don't want to do anything after this. But I'm going to use break in case I do want to later add something after this. So now we should be able to run our game, start up, have our first weapon slot filled with a dagger without getting any error, and not break any of our other code existing anywhere else in this game. So let's see. Yep, dagger filled in, no errors. I'm able to fight dudes, pick up experience, and yeah, no real issues here. I think I accidentally picked up my health potion that was out there without thinking about it, unless I removed it from the field, because I do eventually just want the enemies to drop the health potions instead of me. So I think we leveled up. I think next time we need to make some kind of particles or level up message or something so that, you know, when we level up it's a little bit more obvious. And then of course make some more weapons so that when we level up we can have new weapons in our build, or even just upgrade our existing weapon, because let's be real, this dagger is very slow, it's very weak. We could definitely upgrade the speed, make it throw multiple daggers, do all kinds of things like that, so that we're having a much easier time getting rid of all these little slimes. And then I think that would be a huge improvement over what we have now. Alrighty, well, looks like we're just about an hour here, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits. I want to thank all you guys for joining me. Thanks for watching me. I really super duper appreciate it, and you guys have a good night.